This baby eagle was stuck in the weeds next to the water. A couple show up in their boat and attempt to rescue the bird. The beak of this bird is very sharp, so they take no chances. Fortunately, the eagle gets onto the oar and then aboard the boat, where he receives a nice fish to chow down on. The rest of the journey to shore is without incident, and the eagle is saved. Once on the jetty, he receives another fish. Now, we're not so sure if the eagle just does this to get free fish, though. Crows are among the most intelligent birds in the animal kingdom. This one managed to get himself into a spot of bother in the local lake, however. This man also used the oar method to take the animal to dry land, where the crow also receives nice snacks. Now we're just wondering if maybe the crow and the eagle are part of the same food-stealing syndicate. But were also out on their boat when they saw something swimming towards them. It wasn't a shark, but a tiny sea lion pup. The animal simply approached them and attempted to board. The people on the boat tried to help, but the pup got aboard under its own steam. It was obvious that something was wrong, and the owners of the boat contacted the authorities, who took the pup into their care. This man was out on a walk with a pair of nail clippers. Go figure. Anyway, he happened to find an owl which had become entangled in a fishing line and flew to the rescue with his trusty nail clippers, so to speak. Took a while to get all the fishing line cut away once he had the owl. Once the line was clear, the owl at first had difficulty flying. The man watched him until he managed to fly across the lake. Well done, nail clipper man. It takes brute strength and teamwork to help entangled animals. This man grabs onto the netting wrapped around this sea lion to prevent him escaping and probably dying. Takes all of 4 men to hold on, while a 5th has to cut loose the struggling animal. It all works out in the end as the fishing net is removed. Swans and many other birds are gathered around one of their kind with its head caught in something underwater. Takes a kind bystander to get into the water to free the bird from what's holding it under. Another happy ending. Alligators scare most of us, but what do you do when you see one in actual distress? You ignore it? Well, most people won't be able to, and these guys decided to help. Braving the animal's powerful jaws, they decided to hold it down and remove a fish hook deep inside its mouth. In the end, this was a good ending for them and the reptile. In this one, the baby deer got himself stuck in a fence. The mother's hovering worriedly nearby as they work on getting the deer out. Eventually they do, and the day ends well for mom and baby. The news crew were on hand to do a story about the dangers of thin ice. While filming, a bulldog fell through the ice. The dog, named Cosmo, fell through, and his owner immediately jumped in to save him. He fell through the ice himself as well. The man got his dog out and fell in once again. Once he was free from the cold water and obviously ice cold, he had the reporter bugging him. Sea turtles caught in discarded nets have no chance of outrunning predators. These people noticed one such turtle, and one man jumped in to retrieve the stricken animal. Once he had the turtle, it was transferred to their boat, where friends and onlookers quickly cut away the netting from the animal. The turtle was set free and swam off with the onlookers, cheering and feeling good about their good deed for the day. Explaining needed here. Bird managed to stick its beak into a citrus fruit. All it takes is a helping hand and it's set free. Painful situation for a sea turtle with a sharp object lodged in its mouth. Takes a man with a multi-tool to perform an impromptu extraction to get the object out. The animal's probably in a bit of pain, but hey, at least the object is free. We'll have many of you going, "Aww," a couple of times. Starts out with 4 very unhappy puppies huddling together for warmth in the rain. Their rescuers get them into the car, and a short search reveals 2 more puppies hiding nearby. The puppies are obviously thirsty as they drink water from their bowl. Next is a wash, and then they get fed. Food is always important for puppies like these, as most of us know. Once they are dry and clean and fed, they go into playful mode. All their needs are met and they're safe. No. Kirby was first discovered emaciated lying next to a curb on the residential road. The woman who saved them probably saved his entire life. We hope Kirby's doing well today. And very delicate animals. This baby deer got itself caught in between 2 fences with a worried mother hovering nearby. It was as easy as getting the baby out for the residents, but before the man could put the baby down, Mama first let him hold Junior so she could lick him. Is life-giving in Africa, but as in an earlier clip, animals such as elephants can get stuck in the mud. This time a baby elephant about 5 days old has fallen into a watering hole with steep sides. The mother stays nearby. Elephants will usually stay with other elephants dying or in trouble until the end. The rangers who want to rescue the baby have to first chase the mother away for their own safety, though. The rangers and locals work together to try to get the baby out of the water. After making a plan or two, they eventually use mainly manual effort to push the baby out of the hole. They then have to stop him from wandering right back into the hole. A woman takes it upon herself to lead the baby away from the water. Then she leaves him, and after a while, Mom shows back up. She's very protective over Junior, but nobody out there is there to hurt them. We end this video with them walking off into the wild. Another good ending. Well, here we have another dog in an icy reservoir. It's like a magnet at this point. This time it's two beautiful golden retrievers. The golden retrievers broke free from their owner and ran onto the ice, and then they fell through. Jury used to live in Siberia and Canada and is a diver. He decided to brave the cold with his own dog Kiera to save the first dog and then the other. When entering the ice water, professionals are taught to prepare for the initial cold water shock response. Jury knew this and carried on. He used his arms to break the ice, and eventually both dogs were saved. The owner broke down and cried once her dogs had been saved from drowning. Horned Owl managed to score a goal in a soccer net. Once he was caught in the netting, he struggled until he was well trapped. Only then did he start to tire and people showed up to rescue him. They discovered the rat the owl had tried to catch, and using a pair of scissors, the woman proceeded to cut Mr. Owl free from his bondage. Once he was free, he was placed in a cage so that he could be taken to the vet. This rescuer in England got a call when a fox got himself in cricket bowling nets. The rescuer showed up to find that the fox was well and truly entangled. Once he got the first few bites on the glove out of the way, the process was about cutting the fox loose without getting badly bitten. The fox was eventually freed, and the rescuer went off to try and find the little guy's parents. This bluebird probably had wet feet when it settled on the metal railing. Its feet instantly frosted to the metal and it was trapped. Fortunately, a passerby sees that the bird is in distress and proceeds to use the heat of his hands to defrost the bird's feet. Water would have also helped, but the bird may have just become trapped on the next railing with its wet feet. Takes a bit of time, but first the one foot is freed, and then after probably what felt like forever for the bird, the other foot also comes loose. The good-hearted Samaritan lifts the birds up and lets it fly free. Sea turtle's trapped on its back in the sand. Lying like this in the sun would eventually have killed it. Luck is on its side, though, as a group of beachgoers happen upon the scene. These animals are pretty heavy, and they work together to dig in underneath in with their hands. Within moments, the turtles turn right side up, but it doesn't seem to have any grip. They then proceed to push the turtle until it's back in the water. In the water, the turtle's mate is waiting for it. What a happy ending to what could have been just another regular day. This one starts off with a bull who had fallen into a cramped well. The animal would have eventually died, but a local group decided to save the animal. They arrived on scene and a man got into the muddy well to tie ropes to the bull. After a while, the animal was pulled free from the well. It was cut loose and washed off before it walked off on weak legs. Some good grass and it'll be all fine again. Not sure how this dog got into this mess, but she got herself stuck in a pool of molten rubber. Molten rubber is rubber which will eventually harden and is very difficult to get off of anything. First, an excavator is used to get the dog out of the worst part of the rubber pool. For some reason, she seems to be in another rubber pool after the excavator is done, though. Either way, the authorities arrive on the scene after a while, and together they start a painstaking process of manually pulling the rubber off of the dog. The process is long and difficult, but is successful. Mama Dog is then seen running around free in a cage after the successful rubber extraction operation. Job well done. This puppy's probably called Dumbo for obvious reasons. What is the solution for keeping his ears out of his food, though? A simple rubber band. Of course, he's completely oblivious to anything other than his food. Puppies and food. Gotta love them. A duck and her ducklings find themselves facing an impossible task. They have to cross this busy highway, which would probably have ended badly. But not for the help of the local highway patrol. The officers stop all the fast-moving lanes of traffic and escort the family of ducks across the roadway. Mother duck and her kids are probably on their way to family or another larger pond. Who knows? All that matters is that they're safe. I'm gonna get most of you a little emotional. Elephants are known as gentle giants. This mother and calf have managed to get themselves stuck in the mud of a watering hole in Africa. They were probably after the last bit of water and wandered in too far. The calf is still quite lively, but the mother is exhausted. Local rangers start the long and difficult process of freeing them. They free the calf first, but the young one wanders back into the mud because his mother is still there. The rangers realize that they're gonna have to get the mother out. Rangers dig down with their bare hands to get the harness attached around the body of the mother. Eventually, they do manage to pull the heavy animal free of the mud. At first it looks like Mom may be too exhausted to move, but the calf however doesn't give up and keeps on motivating his mother to stand up. She starts to move and then she's awake, and with an almighty effort, Mom manages to stand back up. All ends happily as the mother and calf wander off into the bush together. This woman couldn't drive past this dog left lying in a ditch next to the road. She approaches him and finds out he's quite friendly. He keeps planting kisses on her face and makes no attempts to run off. She brings him to the vet, and by this time they figured out that his hind legs are not working. Tail's just fine though. We don't see how the video ends, but many dogs with paralyzed rear legs have normal lives with wheels to support their rear legs. Hopefully this one will also know the normality that he deserves. Some men heard the whimpering of what sounded like a puppy coming from somewhere underneath a concrete pavement. After a while, they decided to have to do something. They loosen the heavy concrete slab and one of them goes in after the whimpering. After that, he comes up with a lively and energetic bundle of joy, a tiny puppy. Well done, guys. Good deed for the day and maybe the year. This sea turtle has a massive and heavy net wrapped tightly around it. Some fishermen pull it aboard their vessel. Takes a while to cut away the heavy netting, especially around the animal's neck where it was slowly choking the animal to death. These fishermen were probably just in time. At last, the turtle is free and has to endure a number of kisses before the now embarrassed animal is set free once more. This puppy was found out in the cold all alone, probably abandoned. He was in severe distress and incredibly afraid. Fortunately, his rescuer quickly gained his trust. This is probably the last time he's ever going to be this afraid for the rest of his life, since puppies easily get homes. Hard hooves and ice don't go well together. These here ended up on the lake and couldn't get off. They simply gave up, waited on the cold ice. Fortunately for them though, some locals noticed their predicament and came to the rescue with ropes and snowmobiles. They began tying the ropes to the deer and pulled them off the lake one by one. Once they were all safe, it was a good day's work done by these saviors. See you all next time. Moments like these got a lot of meaning. Cow is found floundering in a lake and doesn't know which direction in which to swim. Some friends on a boat came upon the animal and decided to help out, but by now the cow is barely keeping its head above the water. Eventually a woman gets into the water and keeps the animal's head above the water, and they use this technique to steer the cow to dry land. Once the cow is safe, she stands and looks at them. Pretty beautiful moment, honestly. These people find a juvenile sea turtle entangled in a fishing line and take the time to free it. No matter how the world is, there's always going to be people like this. Here's a variation on the previous two videos. This time a barn owl is floating next to the lake. The people in the boat get him aboard and take him to dry land, and on their way, the owl flies into the water. This time the man uses his hands to save the owl, and to our surprise, the bird doesn't bite him. Seems like this story also ended well with the local animal rescue authorities showing up to save the animal. Well done to everyone involved. Unless, of course, the dog swallowed a fish with the hook attached. Some people noticed the dog with a fishing line coming out of its mouth and it was struggling to eat. They realized something was wrong and contacted a local vet. The doctor realized that this hook was deep inside the animal and they needed to get it out by means of endoscopy. After an operation which lasted an hour, the hook was eventually successfully removed. The dog made a full recovery from the incident, and thankfully there were good people around who cared. It had become incredibly polluted. Animals like sea turtles are bearing the brunt of the pollution. Another one has to be saved. The dog is stuck in the middle of an icy pond. Starting to see a trend here. Some locals wander by, and despite the cold, one man undresses to his underwear and goes into the pond to rescue the dog. The man spreads out his weight and manages to reach the dog. It is, however, when he drags the dog onto the ice that the ice breaks. Immediately he's overcome with the cold shock response, forgets all the basics and tries to reach the side. When the dog accidentally claws him, he comes out of it and focuses on getting the dog out to safety. His friends then help him and the dog out of the water. All is well that ends well. A dog named Hermione had been abandoned in the wild for a year when she stepped in a rusty coyote trap. For 3 days, the poor dog went through incredible pain until good-hearted humans got involved. Not only was her paw not amputated, but a veterinary surgeon reconstructed it. Today, Hermione is a happy, normal dog with a normal, pain-free life. Well done to all who helped. A dog named Ramsey was found on the street, absolutely covered in ticks from head to toe. Ticks can kill, and animals like these and definitely make them very sick. Process started with taking the dog out of his environment. At home, the people who rescued Ramsey proceeded to wash his whole body in tick-killing shampoo. A helping hand was required to get the thick mat of parasites off for the dog. Today, Ramsey's doing fine, and is just another happy dog rescued from a life of suffering and maybe even death. Just happy for the little guy. That is not a neck brace. A mother dog with puppies reliant on her for milk somehow got its head stuck inside a plastic pipe. Takes a special effort for local authorities to get it off. First they sedate the dog, and then when that starts to work, they move in with a net. The dog doesn't like the attention and snaps at the man helping her. He persists, and with little effort, the pipe is off of her neck. This was a difficult rescue, but so worth it in the end. Thirsty dog tries to drink from a faucet, from which only a slow trickle of drops is coming. This passerby sees the dog and opens the trap for the canine. The dog takes a moment to trust the situation. He then proceeds to drink to his heart's content as water flows freely. Well done to whoever the person was who saw the importance of this moment. Another flood story. This white dog has gotten himself trapped on a small island in the middle of floodwaters. We see a wooden plank placed down as a bridge by some locals, but the dog doesn't move. A man crosses the bridge and tries to urge the dog to cross, but the dog is simply too scared and does not want to walk on the plank. Eventually, the man simply lifts the dog and crosses back to the riverbank. Moments later, we see one happy dog thanking the people who just took a few minutes out of their day to save the situation. There's many organized groups of people out there looking for the animals in our oceans. The sea turtle was set free from this net, which surely would have ended her life. Thanks to these volunteers, she's got a new lease on life. The retriever has managed to get himself stuck in the middle of a partially frozen lake in this video. Once again, no idea how he got there. Takes a full rescue effort to save the canine. Two rescuers in cold weather rescue suits have to painstakingly break their way through the partially broken ice to get to the poor dog. Process is slow and probably very cold for the rescuers, but the dog has probably been there much longer. At last they reach the dog, and the dog and rescuers are all quite tired. Fortunately, they all just have to be on hold as the rescue raft is pulled towards shore. Once ashore, the rescuers treat the dog immediately, then put him in a car for a short drive to the vet. Even animals have moments of empathy. Here a kitten has gotten itself stuck at the bottom of a well of some kind. A group of monkeys come upon the hungry and cold feline, and since they have opposable thumbs, they're able to hold on to the kitten. Unfortunately, they don't have the strength to get the kitten out of the well. They try and keep trying and fail every time. Fortunately, a woman sees something is happening and rushes over to help the monkey save the life of the kitten. That's one lucky cat and an even more caring primate. As animals are often left stranded. These nuns were out looking for humans and animals needing help and came upon what looks like a Labrador. The animal's probably been hanging onto its perch for a while already. Definitely tired, and when the boat pulls up, it starts to climb inside without any hesitation. Men see that it's tired and help it aboard. Once aboard, it thank them with an ice-cold doggy shower. Gonna have to watch closely with this one. Gives the term "in the nick of time" a completely new meaning. Dog is perched on a protruding piece of concrete over floodwaters. Someone sees him and comes over to remove the dog. The man does struggle to lift the dog, but he does, however, manage to do so. When he does lift the dog, he moves away, and the moment his foot is off the concrete, it gives way. He and the dog would have been swept away if this had taken a moment longer. Baby deer. This one decided to take a dip in the pool of a local family. She enjoys it so much that when the man lifts her out, she jumps right back in. He has to pick her up and take her away from the pool. Once he lets her go, she takes off into the woods.